about on today's Poker Live podcast. We're going to address some of the most serious allegations one can make in the poker world to someone else, and that is Angleshooting or not Angleshooting. And we also have the return. We haven't seen this since Ben Salsky, aka Sauce, where we had a treadmill desk guest on, but luckily we have that today. So what's going on, guys? Joey One, aka Chicago Joey, in the house here. We back podcasting, guys. We got some big podcasts coming up next week. Yesterday, I read a story of a man named Kevin who is he's dying. He's got cancer. He's dying. He's going to have assisted suicide later this year, or he might pass away before that. I read a story in the Sacramento Bee, and his main wish, his last dying wish, he talked about was to play the World Series Poker main event to help draw awareness for the type of cancer that he has. So I quoted the story. I said, listen, I'll help get this guy in the main event. I've reached out to him. People have reached out to me, so they'd like to help him out as well, too. We're going to have him on my podcast next week, and we're going to make sure that we get this guy in the main event as his last dying wish. So it's a very sad story, but I'm very happy to have him on the show next week to help him draw awareness for the cause that he is trying to do as well. Next week, we'll also have Dan Zach on Wednesday, and we have my buddy Doug Polk, the Supreme Leader, will be back on, too. And for the video, for this podcast today, guys, if you're unfamiliar with the situation, there's a link in the description to the video I made yesterday where I investigated what exactly went down here. But that's it. Joining me today on the podcast, a young gentleman. He's been a part of the poker world for a very long time, been playing high roller tournaments since 2014, plays some of the highest stakes cash games on a regular basis here in Las Vegas as well, too. Very well known in the community, a lot of friends in the community. Apparently, a lot of people that aren't his friends in the community as well, too, that have some adverse feelings about him as well, which we're definitely going to discuss here. He recently got fourth place in the World Series of Poker $50,000 tournament, and he was also involved in a situation. I'm sorry, third place, my bad. And I forgot he's supposed to be disqualified, some people thought, in fourth place, but he got third place. And he was also involved in a situation where he folded out of turn, and a lot of people out there thought it was an angle shoot. He did it intentional. Other people out there thought it wasn't. We're going to talk more about that with him today. Joining me today, Sam Soverel. What's up, Sam? Welcome officially to the podcast, my friend. Is that a hello?
Yeah, it's weird. I'm watching the wrong video, so I'm like on delay. But yeah, what's going on?
Okay, yeah. Make sure, because I gave Sam the chat, but yeah, make sure that you mute the or watch the actual video. But yeah, man, how's we've been talking about doing this podcast for a while, and kind of unfortunate timing with this incident, but you know, no time, I guess, to kind of address it and talk about it of what people are saying out there.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to come on because I thought there was some collateral damage with the Twitter posts and stuff. I wanted to address that. I don't really care what goes on with the other stuff. Like, I don't really mind that Ike and Bonomo and them have a problem with me. I mean, but I didn't like that other people got dragged in.
Yeah, what other people are you referring to?
I don't even really want to go into. I mean, like, for example, the Carrie comment that got posted, I thought that was completely out of line and ridiculous. I don't know if you even know what I'm referring to.
Yeah, the group chat.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. It was like a 40-person group chat, and I was making a joke about how Carrie had done that like 12 hours before in the tournament with 9 left. Clearly, I don't want something where I'm like poking fun at Carrie posted online. I mean, Carrie's my buddy. He's great for the community, and I don't know. I thought that was completely out of line. Obviously, Bonomo was immediately ejected from the chat.
Yeah, so what Sam is referring to, by the way, Sam's on a treadmill desk, guys. For some people that are a little bit, we get a lot of high stakes guys. It's a new thing where people like to be active on their desk instead of sitting there like myself, slunched over, ruin their posture. So this is actually GTO, to get a standing desk or a treadmill desk out there, if you're wondering why,
yeah,
he's not moonwalking back and forth. He's not doing a dance. He's on a.
When you sit like 100 hours a week in the poker room, it's nice to walk at home.
Yeah, Sam, how many hours of poker are you playing right now? Because it seems like to me you grind it every single day.
Yeah, I haven't really done anything besides poker. Like the day I played the last day of the 50K, I think I busted 4 tournaments that day. Played the short deck twice. I played the next tournament. I usually go play PLO cash after. Yeah, I pretty much played every tournament over 10,000 and a lot of PLO. So it's got to be over 100 hours a week.
Has it been that way for most of this year, or is this something that you ramp up extra for the World Series of Poker?
No, last few years I played a ton. Pretty much played as much as I could, but this year I didn't play that much till the series. Pretty much just play the whole time in the summer and then take a lot of time off. Right before the series, I came back. I'm coming back from Costa Rica. I'm actually kind of sick. Had like a stomach issue for a while, but it was an amazing vacation, and I'd like to go back, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, listen, anytime you get away from the chaos that is Las Vegas and get to a place like Costa Rica with a little bit more peace going on down there, and especially when you've been gambling,
but
not a lot of peace. What the hell are you doing down in Costa Rica, Sam?
There's a lot of chaos down there.
Oh yeah,
what do you kind of enjoy? Vegas is usually pretty peaceful.
That was the opposite for you. Okay, I didn't know that. You must be getting out of line down in Costa Rica.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's easy to dodge all that shit in Vegas. When you live here, it's not like you go out and gamble or like party or do that much, you know. Well, you don't have to. I don't.
I don't really ever gamble at all. But going out part, that's not necessarily easy for me personally to dodge. But I applaud anyone that's able to live here and avoid the distraction that is the nightlife of Las Vegas, Nevada, because it can be a temptation, especially when friends are in town all the time and you know a lot of people, and if they like to go out too, then easy to kind of get dragged into that. So, are you playing? You also play the mixed game tournaments too, or are you just playing the big bet tournaments over 10,000?
No, big bet, just short deck, PLO, and no limit. I'd like to start some short deck PLO tournaments, but there's not much interest yet. But I think it's an amazing game.
Yeah, I think after I did the commentary, that the one time that you guys played were you in that short deck PLO cash game on Poker After Dark, right?
Unfortunately, yeah, it was.
Yeah, didn't you get? Yeah, okay, I remember what happened. Thank you. Yeah, I've only really seen that game during that episode, but I don't have much. I haven't really played it at all before. I've never tried it out. It seemed very, very, very gambly, which we could argue that makes for a fun game that people would enjoy. But I'd be interested to see how that could work in a tournament format. But I haven't heard anyone clamoring for a short deck PLO tournament yet. So I mean, it might be next year or down the road or something like that.
Yeah, the bubbles would be pretty brutal.
Yeah, that would. I don't know, man. I'm already thinking about PLO tournaments now, just because they come up so rare for me personally throughout the year that the series is basically the only time they really have them, and then one off throughout the year in different places like that. So this is kind of the only time, if you like PLO tournaments of the year, you can actually play some higher stakes tournaments with actual first places that are meaningful.
Yeah, I think there's an Aria 10K coming up. There's like a few PLO tournaments right before the World Series ones to kind of like warm everyone up.
Yeah, they get them a little excited. What do you think the 25K? Then we'll get into this whole angle thing. But I mean, I'd prefer personally to talk to Sam about a few other different things, because I know Sam is a lover of poker and a lover of Pot Limit Omaha as well. And I haven't had too many Pot Limit Omaha lovers on recently as well, so I get a little excited talking PLO. But do you think that the 25K PLO should be before the 10K PLO, or vice versa? Because this year they have the 25K first and the 10K second.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think you pretty much always want to put the smaller tournaments first, and that way some people that are on the fence, they cash, they fire, they sell off, they win the money, whatever. It just gets more players. Probably like 10 guys or so might end up playing the 25K that wouldn't if they cashed the 10. So it seems to me you would always make the small tournament earlier in the schedule.
Yeah, that's what
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that intuitively would make sense to me too. But last year they did it this other way around it, and I was one of the people. I probably should have just played the 25K anyway. But when I cashed the 10K, I was like, I wish they had 25K now. I would 100% play it right now, because I feel good. I got some momentum on my side. I'm not playing a ton of PLO tournaments. I'd like to get some more under my belt before I play that 25K, get some confidence, kind of get back in the tournament groove, and then go hop into that. So I was surprised, and it kind of sucks. But luckily they have it around the same time, so that if you do come into town to play the higher buy-in PLO tournaments, you're able to kind of play both, and then hopefully play some high-stakes PLO cash if you're also looking to do that as well too in between.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're a good example of it. I mean, it just happens so much that people dodge the tournament that wouldn't have. I mean, I think it's bad scheduling.
Yeah.
Well, it's been kind of crazy this year with they had some big ideas, and I guess they kind of worked, but it kind of hurt the other event. Like a lot of the smaller tournaments are doing great this year, right? Like the 500 got 30,000 people or something, and
right.
It kind of just makes every other tournament a fucking disaster. But
yeah, so he's referring to Big 50. Big 50 guys, 28,000 entries. I mean, first of all, what the fuck? Second of all, as Sam mentioned, it did kind of make the Rio a little bit of a disaster around there. So I don't even know what other tournaments were going on during that, but I don't. Were they small? Like what was the issues that they were having over there?
I mean, you couldn't even walk through the hallway. Like it's crazy. You couldn't go during the 50K. I came in about 15 minutes early, and I was walking through. I wanted to go to the bathroom before the tournament started, and I could barely get to the poker room in time because it's at the end of the Amazon room or whatever. And then I just couldn't get into a bathroom. I mean, I literally tried to blast through the line. I was just gonna go pee in the sink. I was over it. I wasn't even gonna wait for the urinal, but I couldn't even get through the door into the bathroom because there's so many people there. It was a disaster. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what can be done. Anytime you have 4-day flights and you have 4 to 6 or 8,000 people in the building, of course the bathroom lines are going to be a disaster, and that's not going to make the other tournaments that are running around that same time probably run very smoothly or be accommodating as it might normally be for the rest of the summer. So not sure what else could be done about that besides maybe keeping it, maybe staggering the breaks or staggering the start times or something like that. I think that's just probably what's going to happen when there's so many entries for a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, if you're willing to pee in the sink and you can't get it done, there's a fire hazard or something. There's something wrong with the building. Like, it's not your fault at that point.
Would you really pee in the sink?
I had no choice, man. It was a 50K. I wasn't going to blind off.
Was that when the tournament was starting, or was this at the final table?
No, it was at the start of the tournament. It was like I don't even remember if the tournament was 3 or 4 days, but it was the day before the final table at the start. And I was telling the TD, I was like, hey, man, there's a disaster in the hallway. You should probably extend it 10 minutes. People are going to be late that are here on time. Like, just give us extra time. And the guy's like, no, man, we have a schedule to fill.
Maybe you could have used Negreanu's trailer out there and gone pissing in Negreanu's trailer that he has in the back.
That would have been the move, I guess.
You gotta be friends with Negreanu. You gotta be on his good side. You gotta be on Team Daniel to use the trailer bathroom when the lines are long.
I guess.
P Money, ask Sam about the one time he peed in the high stakes baccarat trash can.
Come on, man. Wait, what?
That's the question in the chat right now. I'm reading the question. P Money.
No, I wasn't the trash can. He's joking around. I was in. I don't want to say which casino it was, but oh, maybe I peed in the trash can. I was probably pretty drunk. I do remember Angelico Andreevich one time walked in and I was peeing in the sink because all the bathroom things were full in a certain casino in the high stakes area. It wasn't good.
It happens. It happens to us all. I mean, I've never peed in the sink personally that I couldn't remember, but listen, I've been drunk sometimes and maybe I did some shit I don't remember. So I think most people just go outside. Like, I've seen people at the Rio pissing outside when the lines are super long because they got to get back to the tournament and they don't want to wait.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't have a choice.
Pretty much. Ryan DePaulo says, I'm bringing Gatorade bottles to the Rio. All right, buddy. You bring Gatorade bottles to the Rio, they're probably going to ban you from the fucking Rio for life. So that's actually kind of reminds me of a story. I heard of, you heard about this story going on, Sam, of, I'm not supposed to talk about this actually, but there was a fight and then a guy got banned. A guy and his brother got banned from the World Series of Poker for life. You hear about this?
No, not at all. This was this year?
This was very recently. Yeah. There was a fight off property, and then there was a call made, and then apparently these two guys were banned from the Caesars properties in World Series of Poker, this is kind of a developing story. I'm figuring out more information. I just want to know if Sam heard about this, but pretty interesting in general. I've never heard of somebody getting banned from a property for an incident that took place off of the property.
Yeah, no, is it players, like, do you know who the players are?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want to say, or is this like some secret news still?
I was curious if you knew about it, but I just kind of heard about it too, and it involves it's like I think Todd Brunson tweeted out something about it the other day. He tweeted out how he got into a fight with some people, and this is what it's in reference to. So now I'm kind of hearing from both sides. I'm trying to figure out more about the story, but it's I just haven't heard of somebody getting banned from a property for something that occurred off incident. So we'll kind of see what happened. Let's talk about what happened during this final table here, Sam. So, all right, incident happens. You min raised under the gun, Jack 9 suited. Yurosov shoves all in. You guys both have 25 big blinds, 4 places left. Gets to Ben Heath in the big blind. He goes into the tank here for his the first 30 seconds. Towards the end of the 30 seconds, he throws in the time chip extension, slides it in. Looks very similar to how he folds his cards as well too. I've kind of went through back and I've kind of looked at previous situations like that too, and You mistake it for a fold. You throw your cards in, and he actually doesn't fold in the spot. And then that's kind of when the uproar starts. You have the shocked reaction, the Urkel that I do that. You can't believe what took place there. So let's just talk about this. What was this, an intentional thing? Was this an accidental thing? What did you see from the situation that you were in?
Yeah, so I guess I feel like I need to give a little bit of history on the table, the situation I was in, to kind of like make my viewpoint more understandable.
Okay.
I'm pretty fast to act when people do stuff. I mean, I've fallen for like pump fakes and shit before on the river against people that I would have never expected from. And then it just never happens again with the person. So there's certain people that in the high rollers that kind of do like a little, you know, pump fake here and there, like they're going to call or they're going to do whatever. And I don't have any problem with it. It's part of live poker. I don't consider it an angle. When I say pump fake, I don't mean like they put their chips in the pot and pull it out. I mean like they do everything they can physically to make you think that something's going to happen. Like they sigh, or they you know, they like grab all their chips like they're really excited, or they do whatever. Like, you know, they do something and they're looking for some kind of emotional response. And some people are really sharp with it. Some people take it a little bit too far. Like, I don't know if you saw the thing on Poker After Dark with that guy, Asian Jackie. He's been around. He kind of goes for some pretty serious pump fakes. I would say that he's taken a few of them a little bit too far where he's gotten in trouble for it. You know who I'm referring to, right?
Yeah, that was in reference to a hand that happened against Farrah Galfond.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm never going to fall for it with someone like that. But there's a lot of people who are just like straightforward. They're nice kids. I like them. They'd never really fuck around like that. And they're just very straightforward with what they do. And if they're going to call and they're throwing their chips forward, my hand is face up before the chips even hit the table. I don't know. I like to play fast. I like to get out a lot of hands. 50K is not really a great spot for that. But I think that's like a good background. Like, my understanding of this Ben Heath guy is that he's a super nice kid, good player. My history with him is that I've seen him around like cash games and stuff. Always been really friendly and polite. Like, nice kid, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard for me to say this without like some people trying to bend it and make it sound like I think he was angling, because that's not at all what I think. I don't think this kid was angling at all. He kind of knew that I was either all in or I wasn't. You know, I'm pretty much just calling off if I have the stone nuts. They're both all in. He doesn't really mind giving anything away. And he kind of made it known that he was in a really tough spot, you know. WSOP shows. He's already all in, which I'll say I think is a mistake. I don't really like going to do much. He probably should have made it like 2 million, and then if everyone else shoves, he can fold. But anyway, WSOP shows. He's tanking. He makes it really obvious that he's in a tough spot. He's kind of looking for some kind of response from WSOP and myself. He does like a sigh. He does the whole thing, you know. And he asked me to count my chips, and as soon as I look down, and also this is something that's in the high rollers, you kind of always know where the clock is. You know where people are in their time bank.
Mm-hmm.
Or you know where you are. You know, like somebody bets and you're tanking, you know when you have about 10 seconds left, you know you need to do something. So I knew that he was approaching the end of his time bank. I'm counting my chips. He does the sigh, and everything I saw out of my like peripheral vision made me think he was about to fold. He made it look like he had a really close spot, and he was really disappointed that he had to fold. And then he kind of collapses over the table. You can see in the video, you know, after his little eye roll, and then he flicks the time chip forward, and it's about, I think when I glance up, I watched the video, obviously, and also another thing that's kind of stupid is the time chips are just next to the muck. It's not like fresh time chips. There's literally like a time chip thing by the muck, unrelated to the hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another bad thing for the situation. But anyway, he launches his time chip. It goes directly into the muck where the cards would go. It's not like his time chip was in the middle of the table and I glance up at it. I look up at the muck and I see that the clock is below 30 seconds. So I just assume he just did a fold immediately before his time expired. I slowly go back, double check my hand, and fold. Like, it was, I honestly don't even see how people could have thought it was an angle. Like, it seems insanely stupid to try to do something like that. Like, the EV would never be worth the penalty that I would get. Like, it completely fucking shocked me that I didn't get a penalty. Obviously, I deserved a penalty just for that kind of negligence. Like, allowing that to happen is a disaster. I mean, the fact that I didn't get a penalty is insanely dumb. And the fact that people think I would pull an angle that is got to be losing a ton of EV and makes me look terrible is also insanely dumb, I think.
Yeah, so I think the people were talking about the EV of the situation. I think it was what Urasov was negative 45K or something like that. I think when the numbers were in, I can't be 100% specific on those. I know Lauren Klein did post something like that as well, which I included in the video. And I mean, I think when I personally watch it at home, I can understand where you're coming from. That does look like a fold. You are looking down. We do see your eyes go up, and you do look at something over here, but it doesn't seem like, I don't know if the time chips are out there. We can't see them on the video. So what I'm basing this off of is the video. And if you listen to what Andrew said on my podcast yesterday, we had Lucky Chewy on the podcast. He seemed to think it was genuine. Ben Heath had an interview that he gave to Poker News as well with Oliver Biles, and he mentioned that he didn't think anything was going on there as well too. But it seems like, and it seems like the charge was then led by Ike Hollywood Haxton, who came out and said that if this is reported correctly, it should be a disqualification. He basically came out and said they should disqualify this fucking guy from the tournament because this was 100% intentional.
It's hilarious to me that it starts with, if this is reported correctly. Like, he didn't even take the time to watch the video when he wrote a whole article about, or a whole giant post about how I should get disqualified. That's a little bit outrageous and out of line, especially for like a site pro. I don't know. Yeah,
so he even makes some other tweets as well too. He said, "I've never seen anything. I do not want to pronounce this word because I said it wrong yesterday on the show or on the video I made, and people got into me about egregious.
Egregious, man.
Egregious. Fuck, man. Okay, I said that wrong in the video, and people were there was only about 100 comments about it. He said, "I've never seen anything this egregious before," but yeah, he certainly has a reputation for getting lost on his way to a new table if he's about to be a big blind, mucking losers and mandatory showdown all in spots, demanding new setups as a stalling tactic, etc.
Yeah, I mean, those accusations are a little bit ridiculous too. Two of those events that we're talking about were against Stevie specifically. There was a hand I think we were like 1 and 2 in chips on the stone bubble, and I 3-bet the big. It's like a 50K or something. I 3-bet the big. He calls, runs out like Jack 9-7 brick or something, and I obviously just had like an overpair. I think I bet called the river. I like check called flop, check turn, and then I led river and he shoved and I called, and it was for infinite chips. It was for like over $1 million to shove, and you start with like 100 or 125 in those things. It was just a massive pot, and he turned over the 9s and it's for infinite equity, and I just slammed my hand at the muck and just said, "Nice hand," and just stormed out of the poker room. I was just gone in like 1 second. Like, I'm definitely supposed to turn it over there. It was wrong. The getting lost on the way to the table thing is just completely stupid, though. There was one incident where there was a 2-table tournament. Like, as in there was 2 whole tables in the field, and they drew me in, and I went and stood behind my seat and just started screaming or yelling like really loud, like, "I can't find my table," because it was my big, and I was just completely joking. And Stevie, I guess, didn't get it and started yelling at me and telling me that I was trying to dodge the big. When, like I said, it was a 2-table tournament, man. I don't know what these kids are thinking with this kind of shit. Like, I think they just don't read into sarcasm at all. But it's pretty hard to get lost in a 2-table tournament. It's pretty obvious I was joking, but he was the only one that didn't seem to get it. But I know he's in Camp Ike, and I'm sure they had a long talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing people out there who aren't as knowledgeable about just the high roller world or high stakes scene is that there are different camps of people who are friends with each other, and some people that aren't friends with each other. And obviously, when you're friends and when you speak out with something, like if Ike speaks out about this, you're going to have people who are also friendly with Ike are going to support that as well too. And I'm sure they've talked about their own experiences as well, and they have their own opinion about you and about kind of maybe what your play style is or things that you've done as well too. And then there's a bunch of other people who feel differently about things like that. And that's just how things kind of work in any world that you're in, but that's how it also works in the high stakes world as well too.
Yeah, it's a little different with Ike, since it's not really just that they're like friends or they're buddies and they think alike. It's more like they kind of rely on him for their livelihood. Pretty obvious that a lot of these guys are staked by him, or He buys like massive pieces. For a while, there's pretty much been like 2 camps in the high stakes world where the Germans were buying all the action, and then I don't know, Ike and a few other guys buying all the American action. I don't even really want to get into that too much because I have a lot of respect for the other people in Ike's little group that buy all the action, but I think it's wrong, honestly. It's kind of crazy to like play tournaments where you just have like 70% of some guy, you know? It's a little bit ridiculous to me.
Is this something that is known amongst the other players that are playing in the tournaments?
I mean, I think everybody knows Ike made more money on Bonomo's run than he did, right? I mean, I would assume. I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think they know that. No, now they know, but I don't think that's very. I've never heard that discussed publicly before. So
I mean, I'm not certain that it's true, but I think Bonomo was like a losing player for 10 years or something. Like this is not very likely he had much action, and everyone knows Ike buys it. So,
well, I mean, if you've listened to my buddy Doug Polk in the past, Doug Polk has made this statement a number of different times on different things where he said that this is what is going on in the high roller world without being very specific about what exactly he's talking about and things like that. So, I mean, but amongst the players that are playing in these tournaments, does everyone else know this as well too? If Ike's playing with someone and has 70%, and is this like a common knowledge sort of thing, or do you feel like there's some people that might just be completely unaware this is happening, and then that might affect their play style, how they might play against someone like Ike and someone he has action from?
I don't really think there's anyone that plays professionally that doesn't know about it. But I'm sure that there's like recreational players that come in that don't really know what's going on with the scene and stuff, and just assume that everyone is playing with their own money just because they are. It's easy to assume that if you're a recreational player. Maybe maybe not like the 300K, but if you're just some random rec like hedge fund guy or something, you hop into 25K, you probably assume everyone else has 25,000 also, and I don't know. It's obviously not the case.
I mean, what can be done differently in that spot though? Should there be some sort of, I mean, we can't really regulate who has how much action of someone else. There's no way to enforce something like that. So what can
I don't want to play the poker police game, man. I'll leave that to Ike. I think that's just wrong.
No, that makes sense. Kind of, you mentioned Justin Bonomo, and then he also, he quoted one of Ike's tweet as well. And he said, you can make up your own mind on Sam, but just know he has a history of pulling this shit. He will just straight up flip over someone's hand from the muck and then laugh about it. I've seen him do this 5+ times before.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think he knows how stuff works socially, but all 5 times that he's referring to, it's friends in not a private, but like kind of an organized game. We play in the casino. Anyone can play. There's almost always open seats. We've been playing that short deck PLO game. That's pretty much the only time I've seen Bonomo play cash. He's always welcome. We love playing with him. I turn over a few friends' hands. They do it to me. It's a joke. It's a very like fun environment. I mean, I've done it to Sean Winter. He's done it to me. I've done it to Andy. He did it to me on Poker Go the other day. That shit just happens. Like, there's times too where you'll grab their hand and be like, "Hey man, don't turn it over." It's like if they're serious, if it's like an interesting spot, people will say, "Don't turn my hand over," and I won't do it. But it's happened plenty of times with like friends. I mean, it's never happened in a tournament, but it happens in cash games, and it never happens with anyone that's not okay with it. Like I said, I know Bonomo, big social justice warrior, big clown. He doesn't want it to happen. I've never done it to him. I want him to keep playing. I don't know what he's complaining about, honestly. I just don't get it. Like I don't see how he could not understand that it's free information for him when I do it to my friends and they do it to me. It's just great for him. I don't know why he's complaining. So
it's not a one-way. It's not just you're doing it to your buddies. It's they also will do it, return the favor back and do it to you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if anything, I think it happens to me more than anyone else just because I've done it to multiple players. Maybe they don't do it to each other, but they do it to me. I don't really mind it. I mean, I show hands all the time in the tournament and stuff. I think I'm a lot less serious about like information in poker than most of these guys.
You're a lot more serious about showing information or giving away, or what?
I'm saying I'm a lot less careful about giving away information. Like I've never seen some of these guys like turn over a hand or show a bluff or something. And a lot of times I'll just have it against a recreational player or something. They'll tank for a long time. They'll use the time bank, and I'll just be like, "Good fold, man," and I'll just show them that I had it. You know. they don't really do that. I think it's good for the game. I'll just be like, great fold. Throw the cards to him. I don't know. A lot of these guys are just terrible for poker, and I try my best not to do that.
You try to make it a fun environment where it's not just you're sitting there quiet, or you're not, you kind of try to at least mix things up a little bit. And obviously we can also understand where, taken out of context, that how this might be considered out of line if you're taking over your friend's cards, or you're taking over random cards. Like, for instance, if somebody says that, I think maybe the public's perception is that, well, is this fucking guy playing the 50K World Series poker event and just picking up Urasov's cards and just looking at them like that? That's not what's taking place here, right?
Yeah, of course. I've never done it to anyone that isn't a good friend. Just never happened.
Sasha in the chat said that I do that to me. I do that to her a lot. That's not true. Maybe if we're playing like a home game in the kitchen one-on-one, I'm going to look at some of Sasha's hands because she always be betting on the river against me. But no, I would not do that in the casino as well too. But against like in a game with your friends, I mean, I can see that happening. I think that happens in a lot of home games around the country, and a lot of games where you're playing with your friends. Things like that do take place. So I don't think that's a completely uncommon thing. And I haven't heard anyone else come out and say that this is some big issue about it as well. And maybe I've missed the post or L too, but I mean, if other people have experiences, they let me know about that. And kind of go into some other Ike's comments as well too. And kind of this is what people wanted me to ask about. He said, yeah, I just watched it. I'm 99% certain it was intentional. It's a respectable acting performance, but he noticed his mistake too quickly, and all of his movements from the moment the time bay card hits the felt are unnatural and overreacted. So let's talk about this reaction, because from the time you muck in the hand to the time you react, it is about 1 second. And I'm not a professional reactionary coach or reactionary expert like some people are, so I don't exactly know how much time it might take me to do that and realize that. But the reaction that you had, that people seem to think you were acting. You weren't shocked. You weren't surprised. It was just what you thought you should be doing in that moment.
That's just, sorry, I don't ever go on Twitter. I don't have one. I don't read any of this stuff. But the fact that he's saying it took 1 second is like, that's just stupid. How long should it take to notice that you fucked up when you look over and you see that the guy next to you has cards? That's what happened. I look over and Ben had pushed his cards so they were behind a thing of chips. It's a giant, massive thing of chips, and he pushes them forward and peels them up, and I can see that he has cards immediately. And it became very obvious that I fucked up immediately. I guess like you said, 1 second. I mean, I don't know if their brains work if they don't react to that quickly. That just seems outrageous.
Right. You mentioned in the moment, and some people kind of say you said, oh, this was a Kerry Katz move. So what people have been thinking, and people I've been reading about, is that they're thinking that this was premeditated, because why would you make that comment so quickly right afterwards if it wasn't? Why would he say it's a Kerry Katz move if he didn't plan to do this the entire time, sort of thing like that, is what people are talking about. Yeah,
I mean, like I mentioned earlier, with 9 left in the tournament, it had happened. Kerry was like in the middle of a conversation with someone. Einhorn shoved, 9 left. Someone's tanking. Kerry's the big, and he's just pretty much just in there waiting to fold because he thought the hand was like over. Like I said, he was in the middle of the conversation. He just folds his cards, and I just gave him a really hard time about it for about 30 minutes. Like, it was because I knew how, like, I was being an asshole about it because someone did what I did. Someone folded out a turn. I gave him a really hard time, and then it happened to me the next day, which I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think to me, when I look at this and I see this reaction, it just, to me, you look like, shit, I'm a fucking idiot. Like that's sort of what it looks like to me. And
yeah, I watched it after, and it's pretty over the top. It's a pretty big reaction. I don't want to go into too many details, but I'm friends with a couple of guys on Urasov's rail. I didn't really want to be on their bad side. He's just not someone I would ever do some shit like this to, ever. He's like in the bottom 5 worldwide of this list that I would fuck with. That's fucking crazy. Like, it should just never happen. So, yeah, that's just the look of genuine terror. That's just like sheer horror. That's just something that's the spot I just don't want to be in. And yeah, I mean, it's an over-the-top reaction. There's cameras, there's lights, there's a dangerous rail. I didn't know what to do. I was just horrified.
Right. And I mean, you even say like this is obviously an outrageous spot, and if we go back and we look at past angle shooting incidents, maybe like a AA Angle and Alec, you compare his reaction to your reaction, it's a lot different reactions, right? Now, I'm not saying it's going to be the same reactions of people that maybe have done angles on a live stream, but very different reactions. Like you came out, you said, yeah, like this is outrageous. I should get a penalty. And, you recognize the mistake pretty quickly too. So it doesn't seem like it's where you're trying to hide what happened, and you understand that you fucked up in the moment.
Yeah. I mean, I was also, obviously I felt bad for Yurosov, but also in like a selfish, I just fucked up realization. I figured I just burned a ton of EV because I thought I was about to sit out for 3 orbits, I thought I was going to take like 10 hands off. Like I said, I think because it's such a bad spot and because it benefits me, and it's very obvious that it benefits me when some guy's going to get called more, it should always be a penalty. Kind of funny, that kid, Patrick Leonard, I think is his name, like the British kid.
Yeah, Patrick Leonard.
Yeah, he was, I didn't read it. Like I said, I'm not on Twitter. People send me like little messages and stuff with the pictures and kind of laugh about it because some of the shit is just so outrageous. It's like mind blowing what some of the shit people say. But anyway, someone said that he kind of made like some comments and it was a little like snide and kind of silly, but I was in the tournament the very next day. After the 50K, there was an Aria tournament. He's there. And someone opens under the gun. He shoves. I'm the small blind. I fold. Ali Imsirovic is the big, and he's tanking. And he literally picks up a gigantic silver time chip. The time chips are they're not like little cards like at the Rio. The Rio, they're literally little red cards. They look like fucking cards. It's just stupid. Anyway, at Aria, they're giant. They're almost like plaques, silver plaques. He's holding it up in the air, and then he throws it forward at 30 seconds. And the guy just folds the undergun opener. And then Ali has the ace jack suited and wakes up and just snaps off Patrick Leonard and busts him. It was like the exact same scenario. And like I said, I thought it was hilarious that this guy was saying like, oh, that should never happen, this and that. And then it happens to him the next day. It pretty much happens in every tournament with these time chips. Like, I don't think people realize how often this shit happens. Like it happens all the time. It happened the next day to the guy that was talking shit on Twitter. To me, it was so funny. Like I lost my mind laughing.
Right. Well, I pointed that up on Twitter as well. I said, maybe we need to reevaluate this time chip system because it's not an uncommon thing. And I've heard of this, not this situation specifically exactly in a moment like this, but I've heard other instances before where this has happened where people think someone's folding or they think they're calling when actually they're throwing in the time chip extension. So maybe we need to reevaluate how the time chip systems works. And I think Scott Seaver pointed out on Twitter and Sergio pointed out on Twitter as well too, that they usually are supposed to collect the time chips at the end of the hand, but it doesn't seem like that's actually what takes place because people usually throw them in right when that 30 seconds is there instead of collecting them after hand. It would seem like the action should go, you complete your action, and then the time chips are collected at the end of the hand.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. At Aria, what they do is they start the clock and it goes up instead of down. I don't really know how it works elsewhere, but yeah, every 30 seconds they owe another time chip, and at the end of the hand they're expected to pay. There's not really any reason to throw time chips forward. It's just silly.
Sulfur Y in the chat, which I believe to be Matt Berkey, says, to be fair, pads back to Sam. Pads back to Sam said he should get a pass and that it was genuine based on his observation that Sam was a bit out of it during the final table. So it sounds like Pads was actually on your side of things and not against your side of things in the situation that took place.
Yeah, I think he made like some joking comments or something and then said like, oh, on a more serious note, I think it's an easy mistake to make genuinely or whatever.
So you don't think you should have been disqualified from this moment, correct?
No. I haven't really thought about what a fair penalty would be. I'm sure you could like look into the EVs or something. I would never expect a TD to have to make that kind of decision. But at the time, I expected to probably sit out like 2 orbits. I thought that's what was going to happen. And I think that's reasonable.
I don't know of a precedent where someone's been disqualified for a moment like this. Maybe it's happened before, and I'm not aware of it. I've actually never seen that personally take place where someone was DQ'd 4th place in a moment like this for something that took place?
Yeah, I mean, that's just stupid. I mean, that's just not a smart response to this. I have no idea if Ike has financial incentive to get Urasov some kind of pay jump or something. Wouldn't surprise me at all if he had his action. But just because he has everyone's action. But yeah, I thought it was a ridiculous thing to say.
Yeah, he said intent matters. It's inconceivable that this was an accident or that he didn't understand the importance when it's an experienced pro at the final table of 50K. If I were equally confident of those facts in some specific case at smaller stakes, sure, same result. I think he should be disqualified. His chip should come out of play, and he should get 4th place money and a 1-year ban from World Series poker events. Realistically, I don't think a floor would be likely to do that. A long enough penalty that he is blinded out in 3rd is realistic and fair.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this dude misclick so many times live. He's been playing longer than me live. I mean, he takes 25 seconds to count the pot so he can figure out what he can bet. It's just not really fair to hold me to some like standard that he doesn't even come close to living up to. I see him act out of turn all the time by accident, not in like big egregious spots like this, but just he's pretty like aloof and misclicks and just makes silly mistakes live. And you can't really just say like, oh, well, you're supposed to be like sharp live and I'm an online wizard. I mean, that guy's been playing live tournaments more than anyone. I mean, he might have the most paid in entries of anyone in history. And he misclicks every tournament. I mean, it's a joke.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't talked with Ike anymore as well. He did comment back. I made a post about what I was going to investigate, and he said, just watch the clip at 0.25 speed on YouTube. Watch the succession of places that Sam's eyes go before he mucks. Watch the time bank card get collected by the dealer and moved across the felt, and watch Sam's body language in the 2 seconds after he releases his card.
Wait, is that true that the dealer collects the time bank chip? Because I don't remember that at all. I mean, like I said, I was looking down, but I'm pretty sure he shoots he like does like this with his fan and just shoots it up, and it goes directly into the muck, the time chip. I don't remember.
We're not able to see it on the video. On the video that I have, I have watched way too many times, and I've ever watched this video. I probably watched 500 times. And you can't tell where it looks like it just goes into somewhere, and then it's maybe covered up by his hands, but it's really hard to tell exactly if it's out in the open or where exactly it's going to be at on the table.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's impossible for me to remember exactly where I'm looking at some blip in time, but if I remember correctly, I'm looking up at the muck moving, because when he launches his card into the muck, and the muck just like moves because it hits it so hard. And I might have also just looked at the clock to see that there's like 28 seconds left, and that's when people fold, you know?
Mm-hmm.
When people make their decision, it's like right at the end of their time, right before they're going to use their time extension or whatever. That's like when people fold or call or whatever.
Right, so
So when somebody sighs, rolls their eye, I mean, you can see an eye roll in the clip. It's like a very disappointed, like, I can't believe I have to fold this. Like, this is such a painful fold. I can't believe it. And then he flicks the time extension up, and I just think it's a muck, you know. I think his hand is dead, and I go back, check my hand, and fold. And I was actually thinking about this morning. I had told someone on the spot, like, or right after the tournament, because like someone had called me about it, and they're like, "Yeah, that was like crazy. Did you do that on purpose? You know, like, is that an angle?" And it was someone that I'm not, like, they don't know me well enough to like have a good read on it, you know? And I was just like, come on, man. Like, that would be so stupid to actually do on purpose. Like, there's no way the EV is worth the penalty of sitting out. Like, I had to be under 10% to not get a penalty, I would think. I think I ran insanely good to stay in, you know, to not get like a 2-round penalty.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean,
so does it concern you at all? Like, let's say that this goes down, we never do this podcast, no one ever hears your side of it. Is it something that you don't like, or do you care about potentially being labeled as this? Because I'm sure when someone like Ike, and the reason why I bring up these comments, the reason why I'm spending this much time on this, because I think these are very serious allegations from a member of the poker community who I have a lot of respect for his opinion. And I think many other people out there have a lot of respect for where Ike's coming from as well, too. So when he comes out and says these things, now you're going to have a large subsection of the community who follows him that they're going to take that word for bond and say, well, of course this guy did something because Ike's saying he did something. Look at Ike. I don't see Ike this fired up ever. So is that something that you're even really worried about at all? Or is that something that you don't necessarily care much about because you're not going to see a lot of these people anyway?
I mean, I'm pretty confrontational or controversial with people at the table. I've had run-ins with a lot of these guys that came out and had bad shit to say about me. I mean, I don't know. I've gotten into it with most of these people like Dan Smith and stuff before. Like I said, we've had issues in the past. Same with Ike. Same with Bonomo. Probably Bonomo more than anyone. He's just kind of, I'd say he's easy to argue with. He's a pretty closed-minded guy, in my opinion. So it doesn't really bother me that these people, that Ike Steaks or whatever, have a problem with me. But it is kind of obnoxious that there's people just posting out there like, oh, this guy is like a scumbag. I think this guy's like a piece of shit. He angled. Like, I read comments on, I watched a YouTube video and I was reading the comments and it was just like, don't let me catch you in Texas. Like, it's just like the clowniest shit I've ever seen. I mean, these people are just complete fucking animals. Like, how do these people even have keyboards? Like, it's a joke. Like, what? I really don't get it, man. Like,
so you can't go to Texas. You're banned from Texas, huh? According to the YouTube chat.
It's really unreal.
Another kind of thing that came up was the Justin posted the group chat, and in the group chat you make a comment in there talking about it's Kerry Katz move 100% of the time, and then they've sort of said, well, why wasn't he apologetic about this taking place, and why was he cracking jokes about this incident? If I was in a group chat of 40 other regulars, one of the first things I would do I would apologize what people are saying out there too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I joke around a lot about just about everything. I don't know. Try not to take the poker world too serious. And that was my initial reaction. I mean, that was also like that night too. And like I said, it was poking fun at Kerry doing it before. You know, I mean, it's kind of like I'm kind of making fun of myself, you know, because I had given Kerry so much shit about it. You know, I probably lectured him for like 30 minutes, or every single time a new conversation would start, I would poke fun at him and be like, but Kerry, you remember that time you mucked out a turn and some guy was facing it all in with a pay jump? Like every 5 minutes that was brought back up. So like I said, I'm kind of making fun of myself for doing it the next day.
What do you think about the whole group chat thing being posted up too for on social? Because I know there were some people that chimed in and said that was pretty out of line.
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure that's the worst thing that came out of this. Just completely out of line to post something like that, especially someone that's like great for the poker community. It's like run tons of tournaments. I mean, if anything, that's the only reason Justin has any money. It's like Ike and Kerry teamed up to make sure this guy could stay in action. He ran a bunch of tournaments and Ike backed him for it. I mean, it just blows my mind that he would post something like that has Kerry's name in it.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it does seem like it was an attempt to make you look bad in the situation as well, or kind of support the idea that you did it on purpose as well too, which, you know, I can understand that. That's probably why, maybe that's the way he perceived it as well too, that when you said that, you were basically admitting that I did this on purpose.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously these guys don't understand sarcasm at all. I mean, it's a 2-table field and I get accused of dodging the big blind standing behind my chair screaming, where do I go? What seat am I in? I don't know which table I'm at. I mean, But yeah, the thing I was trying to point out before, sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm getting too many moves in open face. I need to put this down. Too many people are playing right now. Yeah, sorry.
The grind never stops. The grind never stops. Okay.
Yeah, no, sorry. You go ahead. I don't remember what I was talking about.
It's okay. We're just talking about the just stuff related to Justin, but
yeah, I mean that group chat thing's crazy. People in the chat were like, "Yo, we should probably just sue this guy."
Whoa!
Like that. Whoa. You can't do that.
You got that tall puppy.
I didn't realize what it was. Can you just cut me out of there?
Were you just stone naked? I didn't see.
No.
No. Luckily, no. Calm down, guys in the chat. Calm down. It's a girl. You're right. First, I know we haven't had many women on here lately. You know, but I agree. Calm down, guys. No TOS. We're broken. We're fine. No tweet. No one make a tweet about that, please. Okay, we're good. We're good. I guess. Do we have any more parting words in the situation? Like, ultimately, what do we hope to accomplish out here? Is there a takeaway? Is there a learning experience for the community out there that might come from the situation?
Yeah, I mean, besides the fact that penalties should always be given in this spot, it's pretty hard. I think it's become clear that it's not easy to judge intent. So maybe you should just always give a penalty, and unless it's like really, really obvious that the person did it on purpose. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just always give out a penalty. Always do the time chips at the end. It's kind of stupid to do it in the middle of the hand. It just like opens the door. I've seen so much stuff where I saw one in a tournament at Bellagio where the guy threw in the time chip, and this guy just threw his hands up. He goes, "You know what, man? I got nothing. That was a great call." It was a recreational player. He just threw his hands there and says, "I've got nothing. That was a great call." And the player in mind says out loud, "Well, I was leaning towards call." So, and he pushes his chip forward, and the guy turns over nothing, and he wins the pot. I mean,
wow.
It just happens too much, you know, and it's a lot of times it's for a lot of money, you know, like it shouldn't happen, man.
Right. I mean, yeah, I think that's probably the big thing is maybe we need to reevaluate this time chip system, one, and two, be more consistent with the penalties given in that situation where if something like this does happen, the penalty should be given as well. And we can talk about why the penalty wasn't given is because the floor man, I don't believe actually saw any of the action. He came over after the hand ended, and Andrew and yourself and Ben were still at the table. Yaroslav's not at the table anymore. I'm sure he would not have been agreeable in terms of what happened. But you guys basically just said, this is what happened. You thought it was a fold. Andrew said, yeah, it looked like a fold. And the guy said, okay, that's it. That was it. Moved on to the next hand. It really wasn't much of a debate that took place between the floor and the table in that spot.
Right. I think because the players of the table knew it was an accident, and it's pretty... I think it's pretty honorable that they just said, like, oh, yeah, we thought it was unintentional. They didn't really try to – there's definitely some players at the table. Like, if Justin was at the table, he would have just been arguing with the floor guy for, like, 20 minutes. Like, we would have had to pause the clock so he could get me the longest penalty possible so he could steal my blinds, you know? Like, obviously the table would have benefited from getting me a penalty.
100%.
So,
100% they would have. Yeah, especially you had 25 big blinds. If you miss a couple rounds there – What are you missing out on? You're missing out about what, 8 big blinds or something like that?
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty respectable that they just gave their honest opinion instead of just saying what benefited them on the spot. I mean, obviously, Yarosov probably would have argued because it cost him money. But sorry, I'm trying to read these comments. I don't even understand what half this shit is. I don't even know what's going on in here.
Oh, no, you don't want to read the comments can be very distracting. You don't want to read the comments. Shout out to the nude porn spam links in the chat, by the way.
Exactly. I'm like, what's going on here?
I got no idea, man. Rego Asamama. I mean, this is something, I mean, you know, the conspiracy theory that Heath was the one angling in the hand. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think it's worth talking about necessarily. I don't think the guy was angling. I think he may have been trying to get a react. I mean, I don't think the guy's doing anything out of line, man. Come on. You know what I mean?
It's possible to say what he did was an angle, but he was definitely 100% going for a reaction. I mean, it's just live poker. He's just, and it was, I don't even mean with a time chip. I mean, by kind of just like wearing his heart on his sleeve and just doing the sigh. And I don't know. I mean, I played a lot of poker, and I was certain that guy folded. You know, he sighed, he collapsed over the table. He was like so resigned to losing the hand. Like he was so over it that I didn't even understand how he had cards. Like, part of that reaction was like, I thought Ben Heath was a magician, that he just pulled 2 more cards out of the air. I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I was shocked, man. I was horrified.
Magician, huh? Little Antonio Sfandiari, the magician magic, Ben Heath. Okay.
That's definitely an Antonio move. But I think Antonio would throw the chip intentionally, man. He knows what he's doing with live poker.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was just I thought he was 100% calling no matter what. He's got ace queen suited there, 25 big blinds. He's got about 50 some big blinds. To me, it seemed like a spot where he's never going to fold there, which doesn't necessarily matter because the cards are independent in terms of what actually took place and what should happen from it. But when you do get down to the actual hand itself, I don't think the action did influence the action here. I think that the guy's going to call there with the ace queen suited no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. I was thinking about it before. This is what I was trying to say earlier. I was thinking that maybe the penalty should be pretty harsh because I was thinking it would never happen if I had a good hand. Like, I think the truth of the situation is, like, if I'm sitting there with like kings or something, I'm never going to fall for this shit where he like rolls his eyes and like sighs and stuff and like throws the card forward. But like I said, that was my impression immediately afterwards. For the next 2 days, I was like, man, I think I deserve like a pretty harsh penalty just because this could only happen if I was sitting there waiting to fold. If I had like a good hand, I know it would never, ever happen if I had a super close spot. If I had a really close spot, I would make sure he had no cards, like be kind of slow, take a second, and then call or fold or whatever. Like I'm saying, if it's borderline. But because it was like a no-brainer, I was just waiting to do my action. But I was thinking that if I had aces or kings and this situation happened, I probably would have just turbo called and turned my hand over. Like I probably would have showed Ben Heath my cards with the cards. Because historically, I like I said, I just call lightning fast and turn the hand over, you know? Like, so I really think there's a good chance I would have just turned over aces and rocketed the money in with Ben Heath still having cards. And it's kind of just, I don't know. I think Ben kind of just got the best of me with his antics at the table. Like I said, I'm not saying he did something wrong. I'm just saying he made, like, his body language and stuff made me think he was over it and he folded. So I think I was giving away a lot and not on purpose. Well, I guess I gave it all away when I'm through the cards, but you know what I mean.
You very much give it away.
Yeah, when I no longer had cards, he knew.
You no longer have cards. That is the sign that you gave it away, man. I mean,
yeah, I'm kind of thinking, I think there's a chance if I hadn't looked over to the right at Ben, because my immediate reaction, Ben kind of even looks at me too. Like he launches the thing forward. He kind of glances over at me like, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you I don't know. My initial thing was I was going to look over at Ben and try to figure out what he folded. Like that was where my head was at. Like I was trying to figure out, what does this guy have? Like, what is his like call range here? I wanted to see maybe if he was going to fold slightly too much, so maybe I could shove on him slightly more than I should, you know? So I immediately was like looking over to him to be like, man, it's a tough spot there with like the ace-10 suited, huh? I just was going to try to like probe and say some hands that don't really make a lot of sense and see how he responded to it. You know, I play a lot of kind of silly games like that at the table. And instead I just looked over and saw some cards.
Yeah, I think ultimately we, you know, maybe this is a situation we it happens. All right. We talk about it. We discuss it. We figure it out. We try to learn from it. And then at some point in time, the community moves on from this, and this becomes something that's in the past. And, you know, unfortunately, you and, you know, Ike and Justin, you guys, I'm sure we'll see each other plenty more in the future. So we had a suggestion in the chat from Esco. Esco said, would Sam want to fight Justin for charity? How could Justin say no to that? Do you have a lot of fights? Because someone said you also have a fight with the guy that was in the bathroom, the dark bathroom, the guy Rich. Are you a big fighter or something? What am I missing here?
Joke about that with that guy Rich. We were at the pool in Florida, and he had just won some tournament, and he was being really like I think it was like a 1K. He won it for like 190 or 100 or something. And he was being super cocky, and I was just messing with him, telling him, "Oh, let's just go fight at some like the local MMA gym." I don't know. It's mostly just a joke, but he showed some interest.
So that might be the next prop bet. You and Rich are gonna fight next, huh?
No, I mean, I'd much rather do it with Bonomo. You know, that would be way more fun. I think it would get more views. You know, so
Jesus.
Yeah, no, I'd love to do that. That'd be fantastic. I mean, you could dye the hair.
I'm not saying I want to see it. I'm saying I'd watch though. If you and Justin for some reason, I can't see Justin seem like he's not a fighter to me, but you know, I know he got some energy. Listen, I think he'd give it all. I think he'd give it all, man. I don't know. Who's the favorite?
We know he had heart, man. He stayed at poker for a long time.
So what do you really think he's a losing player?
No, I mean, obviously he's a winning player now. I'm saying he definitely had a stretch where he was a losing player. I mean, even if he's not supposed to be, it's just easy to do that. Like, he could have had an edge and just lost for a while. I mean,
That's definitely
no limit tournaments. That just happens. I was just saying it takes some heart to lose for years and then stick around long enough to win every flip for a year. You know, I respect that a little bit.
people will say I'll commentate the fight. Listen, you guys know me. I am a fight commentary expert, so I will definitely commentate the fight. In this corner, we got of course I'll commentate the fight, guys. Come on, it's not going to happen though. But you never know if it's for charity. Listen, what if we raise $50,000 for charity if the fight happens? I don't know. I'm saying maybe there's a possibility we can work it out. Esco said, no, I said Ike and Justin at the same time.
I don't know about two at once. Maybe back to back, like the old school UFCs. Like
that, like the king of the ring, huh? You just one at a time. I don't know, whatever, man. Listen, we always say sometimes we talk about how I talk about how there's not enough people who kind of speak out if something does happen in a situation like this. So on one hand, I have respect for Ike and for those guys, and I do respect their opinions as well in this situation too, as well. But I think there always is two sides to the story. And I think in this instance, we have the evidence on video, we have what took place. And when we look at the evidence on video, I don't think there's 100% proof going on any direction at all. So, and for a lot of the comments I'm reading out there, people are 100% convinced this was out of line. So you guys can kind of make your judgments. You can watch the video. You can listen to what Sam says. You can listen to what everyone else says. And then you can form your own opinions out there as well, too. So I think that's pretty much it. Rick says, hey, Joe, bring me out to the World Series Poker and back me. I'm pretty good. I beat my wife 3 times out of 5. All right, Rick, send me an application over, and maybe we'll get you. Maybe Sam will buy a PC and something like that. What else you got coming up here, Sam? What do you got planned here for the rest of the World Series? Is it all tournaments, or is it gonna be a mixture of cash games when you're not playing tournaments as well too?
I mean, I can check this little poker schedule thing now, but for the most part, it's tournaments. They started out pretty good. They've been bad lately. The last couple haven't been that good, but tomorrow there's a short deck PLO game. That should be fun. Hopefully we get some more of those. But yeah, for the most part, just tournaments and PLO. PLO's been good. There's been a lot of action, like 51, 1-2. I think they got a couple 2-4 games, but Arias had a lot of action. There was a mixed game. It was no limit PLO and short deck no limit.
Ooh.
Ran at Bellagio a few times. I'm not sure who organized it. It might be that Chris Kruk guy might organize it, or maybe Luke Reeves. But it's a good mix.
Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Bit Too Easy as well too. In the Las Vegas live poker streets, taking a break from that's who Luke Reeves is. If you guys don't know, he's Bit Too Easy on Poker Stars. One of the top known home players out there right now on the internet. You still playing any online, Sam? You battling on WorldSeriesPoker.com?
No, I haven't really played on there much. I mean, I still have an account active. Play twice a month or something, once a month. There really hasn't been much action. Actually, Tom Canuli shut me down last year. I was playing on there a bit, and I had only deposited one time, like 5 years ago or something. And I don't know, I was lucky enough to win for a while. And then I had to go deposit because Tom Canoli beat me for like 180,000 or something at like 1-2 or 51 or whatever the biggest. I think it might have been 1-2 no limit like a year ago. And since then I've just played less on there. It's too tilt, like I was up some obscene amount at like 10-20, and then to just get the account felted by Tom heads up, it's not as fun, It feels like such a grind when you play 10-20 like for like 9 months, and then you lose it in one day. 1-2.
Tom Canuli, a legendary upswinger and downswinger on the internet poker world streets for sure. That man could go on some swings, man. We got to get that guy in the pod. That guy can go on some swings for sure. I think he's a ACR sponsored player now, so I think he's playing the 5100 games on ACR, the no rat hole games or rat hole game. No rat hole games. That's how they work. You play on those games at all?
No, but I have a friend that's on there just all the time, and he said that like the software hasn't really been working for him lately. I don't know if it's like a personal issue or just like they updated their software, I think, and all I see is this guy complaining about it. So
they definitely updated their software, and it's not working properly for sure.
I'll probably wait on that.
Yeah, they definitely have some issues for sure. No doubt about it, man. Let me. Is there something else you want to talk about? We talked about previously. I don't know. Did you want to get into that on the pod, or do we want to save that for some other time?
No, I mean, a lot of these people that called me out, I mean, I've had history with them, and they've done things that I don't really approve of, but I don't think I'm doing myself any favors just calling out all the people for all the shit they did wrong in the past. I mean, some of it, like Justin, for example, all that stuff's like really public and obvious, but I really just don't want to call out all the Dan Smiths of the world and stuff. You know, they can just do their thing.
Dan Smith out of line. That's my buddy Dan Smith.
Not in a while, from what I've heard. Long time, but I don't know, back in the Justin days, man, everybody was out of line, I guess.
There were some very out of line things happening back in the day during the that is a definite
a long time ago. I haven't heard anything bad in a long time, but I don't know. All these people have long history, and I guess I call out too many people for too many things. They're all ganging up on Twitter now. Actually, one person that I kind of, not like a history, but one person I called out, and I was really surprised. Someone sent me a message. They like kind of defended me. Was Charlie Carroll. I played with him like maybe twice, but the first time I ever played with him, I just went off on him. He was playing Lauden Thinks with Antonio Esfandiari, and I immediately was like, man, these are just my two least favorite players. Like, I couldn't take it. It was the softest table of all time. It was like a 5K World Series, and it's just an incredibly soft table, like all recreational players, like everyone was playing lightning fast, and they were just sitting there prop betting. And I remember I opened, and this Charlie guy just stared me down for like 45 seconds pre-flop, just over an open, just facing an open out of the big. And I just exploded. I was like, hey, man, you can't just stare at me like you want to fuck me. Like, you got to play these hands. Like, do you see how bad this guy is playing? And I pointed at Esfandiari, obviously, instead of a fish. But obviously, I was trying to convey to him that people were giving money away. And the faster he played, the faster he was going to win. But, yeah, I kind of just went off. And it was a little bit out of line, but I kind of think he deserved it. I mean, I don't really mind being mean to the pros of the table. I think it's kind of good for the game. It's kind of been good fun. Esfandiari was under the impression we knew each other because of how fast it like escalated, but we obviously weren't. And like I said, I feel like I've been mean to him because I just really didn't appreciate his like table antics. But I'm shocked he went on there and defended me just because we had like maybe 2 interactions. They just weren't good at all.
Yeah, he said on my Instagram that people have their tinfoil hats out for this one. So, yeah, he was. Yeah,
that blows my mind. But I think he's friends with Ben, and Ben probably just told him, like, yeah, it's impossible that it was an angle. Like, and then I accused me of a lot of things, but he didn't just say I was a stone idiot. And I feel like it would be pretty dumb to pull that angle intentionally on a stream, knowing you're very likely to get a penalty that costs you a ton of money, you know?
Right.
And
so Martin Soslam in the chat, and these are some comments that I've definitely been reading, you know, because in a situation like this, no matter what side you fall on, there's going to be a very passionate other side of things too. And so if you come out and say, well, I don't think it was an angle, then you're going to have people who are convinced it was an angle that are upset with me and my opinion on that situation. So Martin says, so Joey, you're really not going to call him out on his BS. I knew it would happen if I had king or something. I would take my time, blah, blah, blah. 2 minutes later, I would have snap call with ace, king. I have a history of doing that. Real convincing story. So I don't think in this situation, obviously, not everybody's going to be convinced here. If you guys have some questions for Sam, you know, get him on your podcast. You can go ahead and ask him the questions. You know, I'm not on here to be the fucking FBI detective. Okay. We're not saying, hey, Sam, we're going to put you in fucking jail for the rest of your life and ban you from poker altogether. If you're doing something here, I want him to come on here and tell his side of the story. That's all you can do is you give the man a platform to ask him questions, tell his side of the story. I'm not here to try to pick apart the fucking story about the answers that he has. That way, what are you talking about, man? Okay. If someone's wants to do that, they can go ahead and do that out there too. All right. You want to get in touch with Sam? You have a conversation with Sam? Go ahead. You go do that yourself. So I just want to hear what the man's story is. And I feel like he's come on here and he's told that side of the story. So
I want to post my conversation with Ike in the chat. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. It's a Facebook conversation. I think it's kind of funny.
Do we want to share? Or is you think it's out of line to share a private chat?
Yeah, I'm trying to post it in the YouTube chat or whatever, the thing you linked me.
Pretty sure you can just paste it if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going on Facebook right now.
Is this something that you two have had with each other very recently?
Yeah, no, it was right after the event. Like,
I
immediately after the tournament, I busted out. I saw that Ike was just going after me crazy, and I messaged him to be like, "Hey, man, like this is a little bit out of line." Well, I don't really know how to. Too many characters.
Do you want to tell the people what took place, what was said, or do you think we should talk about what took place in a private conversation, or do you think that's not a fair thing to do for Ike, maybe?
Oh no, it's that's the thing is it's nothing. It's not like a Bonomo like check this out, I caught him type of thing. Yeah, I'll just read it off. I think I posted it in the chat. It just says it's me like giving my side of the story to him responding with, "Yeah, I don't believe you." Jesus, something's crashed. Anyway, "Yeah, I don't believe you. It looked intentional to me." I said, "That's crazy. I'll look at the footage later. But if you want, I'll lay you $200K to $100K on a polygraph." And he just says, "No, thanks." And yeah, he goes on to say, "I don't know, man. I watched a bunch of times, looked intentional." Yeah, nothing crazy, but I just think it's funny. He's 99% about something and he doesn't want any action on some kind of polygraph. I mean, I would do it for a small amount. You know, I think it's free money. I'll lay a price and we can do some kind of small bet if he wants to pay for it. I mean,
a Poppy's polygraph prop bet. Okay.
I'm no expert. I don't know anything about these, but from what I've heard, they're pretty tough to beat in the last 10 years or so. But if he wants action.
Well, hey, if anybody out there wants action against this situation, I think I saw Anthony Alberto. I mean, puts up on Twitter as well too. Said that he would prop it against it. And then there's the whole polygraph thing. Obviously, polygraphs can be, you know, you can beat those and stuff like that. I'm sure there's ways out there people have figured out too. So
yeah, for sure, they're not perfect.
Anybody in the chat have any questions out there about the situation, or can we move on and talk about something else for a little bit here, guys? What do you guys think out there? Let me ask the chat. You have any shout outs you want to give, Sam? You want to give a shout out to somebody out there?
Maybe the end. I'll wait a little bit. Let me figure that out. Actually, I do have one shout out. I'll play it. I have to go take a piss, but I have a little shout out I'm gonna give while I do that. Here, I'll just play it now, and then you can listen in. This is from my boy Mike Dentali. He had a similar situation, and I figured he said it better than I ever could, so I'll just post his message. Let's see if it works.
You know, all I can say is at the end of the day, I don't cheat, I don't collude, I don't steal, I have no reason to, it's who I am. You believe me? Great. You're a friend of mine. You don't believe me? I couldn't give a rat's ass, go fuck yourself. And that's how it is.
Shout out to my man Mike Dentali, Mr. Tank Top, Mr. Arms himself for that message we got to play over here. Did he send you that, or is that somewhere else?
No, that's from a Florida clip.
Oh, Florida. Is he peeing in the sink? Not peeing in the sink, guys. Calm down. Let's get some shout outs in the chat. Who we got out here, man? Let me see who we got. We got Elliot Feely in the chat. What's up, Elliot? What's going on, man? Anthony Colavita, Papi. What's up, man? Morehead Diaz always in the chat. P Money in the chat. What's going on, man? Jonathan Angel out there. Robert Katarina. Porn. Sexy. XNNX here. Why do you guys keep doing that for? You guys are you'll fucking spam another chat. Why would you even waste the energy to do that? It doesn't make sense. We're going to time you out immediately. Robert Katarina, Matt R, James Grimaldi, the Grimstar, Misty Sparks. What's up, Misty? Papi. Me. Francisco Vasquez. What's up, Francisco? What's happening? Poker M Hype. Joey M. James Urbanet, living in Vegas, looking for some work. I'm not the man to give you some work right now, brother. I'm sorry. I need no one to work for me right now. Chengi Poker. What's up, Chengi? What's happening? First Order. Andrew Rivers. Poppy Van Winkle. What's up, Poppy? My boy Landon Tice is always in the chat. What's up, Landon? How's it going, buddy? Esco B, as always, in the chat, showing love. Gilbert Acuna, my guy. Is that Gil the Plumber? What's up, Gil? Papi. What's going on, brother? How's it going, man? We've got a lot of people in the chat. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys are enjoying this podcast, make sure you guys smash that like button or and or subscribe. I'll also put these up on iTunes later tonight, guys. And we got a big week of podcasts coming up, big month of podcasts coming up. We'll be doing a lot of content. Sam's back in this thing. We have no questions, it looks like. Okay, good. Greg G, met you at the Aria at like 5 a.m. after chopping the Aria 400. I agree, Greg. It was very nice to meet you, my friend. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Hope you enjoyed winning that tournament. No questions? More questions in the chat? No? Okay, perfect. So that Mike Natali quote, that's the way you feel about the situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty accurate, I would say. I mean, there's not much to it. I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious it was unintentional. I thought it would be really stupid to do intentionally just because I feel like I'm burning EV if I'm doing it. Like, I don't know, man. It's just a dumb angle to pull. Like, you're going to get a penalty, you're going to sit out, and it's going to cost you more than it makes you. I mean, that's just not some shit I'm trying to do.
All right, now we're moving on from that. Esco B, ask him if he can play the Bond villain message he got from the poker player about him being a fucking crab.
That is an epic message, but I don't think it makes any sense over the yeah, shout out to Jens. Jens is a heads up specialist from Germany, he says. But he's a CEO of a company. I don't really want to say the company or even go into detail because he doesn't like his poker life to be very public. But we recently played together in a game, and he left to go play a private game that I'm not allowed to play in. There's quite a few private games in Vegas now. It's kind of killed the action. And he sent me a really fun message from the private game. And whenever I'm having a bad day, I just listen to it, and it cheers me up. I think it's hilarious. He's one of my favorite players.
Yeah, what do you think about the private game scene currently going on in Vegas, where a lot of the bad players are being poached by the private games, and a lot of the professional poker players are not allowed to play in those games?
Yeah, I mean, it's a disaster. I'm all for like organizing games and like you set up a group, you all go in and play together. But when it gets like 5-handed and 6-handed and you're just telling people to leave, I think it's a little out of line and kind of a joke. I don't think you should be able to do that. I mean, it happens every day in Vegas. There's like 3 giant private games, and it pretty much ruined the high stakes community in Vegas. There's a few pros that play those games, and they're collecting all the money, and I'm on the sidelines. I'm pretty unhappy about it.
So if it was something where if you were in the games, would you be unhappy about it, or is it because you're outside of the games that's why people have an issue? Because other professionals who are outside of the games as well also have an issue too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be on crazy tilt about it if I was playing in the games, but I do think the whole thing is a little out of line to have private games in the casino. I mean, but yeah, I'm extra mad about it because I don't get to play.
Right, and I guess then the questions then become: is this how it should be, and is it understandable? Because what the casino side of things are going to be, or what the players or host side of things are going to be, is that these recreational players wouldn't play if they had to play with some of these other players who are bad for the game. Therefore, they're in an environment where they actually have a good time and they want to play, which is what I think one of the arguments I hear from the other side is that, well, they want these games and these games wouldn't exist if we didn't host them in a private manner.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I don't even want to mention names, but there's been a game that's gone for a long time. It used to be at the Aria. It's no longer there. It's a bunch of like business guys and CEOs and stuff, and it's completely understandable. I mean, I've gotten pretty mad about it and waited around to try to get in and stuff. But I mean, the truth is a bunch of like hedge fund guys and like just like they don't want to play with pros. I get it. They've been around for a long time. They like to play with a couple people like JRB and stuff. But that situation is kind of understandable. I mean, I'm not trying to like condone it or really condemn it. It's kind of just like it is what it is. But there's the other games, they're not really like that. It's more of just like a couple pros that are very manipulative socially. And they kind of just befriend these people and like trick them into thinking that they're buddies. And it's like very parasitic, and they just bring them down to the casino and just fleece them. And it's only a few guys doing it. They're making a lot of money. And I just don't approve of that. I don't know.
Well, they definitely are making a lot of EV. I don't know how much they're winning in these games, but when you
No,
see the
they're
lineups in the
definitely-
games, you know that these are some pretty good games that are getting put together for sure.
Right. Yeah, they're making a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, this isn't a very popular topic in the poker community because it doesn't really impact that many people, but there are a lot of professionals out there who, you know, maybe they aren't bad for the games also, but it's just they're not going to play the game, or they're not going to befriend the host, or they're not going to befriend the fun players. So they're never going to get in these games unless they decide they want to do that. And for a large portion of poker players, they're just don't want to do that. And then they have to play in the other games, and then they're locked out. And then I guess, you know, the biggest issue is that then when a guy shows up like that, or a new recreational player shows up to play the 5100 game at the Aria, that guy's then being taken out of the game, and then he never comes back to the game. And then so you get to play with him, and then one of the guys comes in, oh, no, come on here. And then so that's what takes place.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the main thing is they have all these recreational players that want to play all the time. And the fact that it started, there's not really a good way to stop it. Like, for example, I wanted to play PLO. There was not really any PLO in Vegas. Maybe like 5 years ago or so, I texted a bunch of people, mostly pros, like, hey, let's just go play quarter 50 or 51 or whatever it was. I don't even remember, at the Aria. And we put together some game. We all showed up. It wasn't private at all, but we all showed up at the same time ready to play. Anyone could get on the list. Anyone could play. And then I think the second time it ran, we ran it like a few Fridays in a row. The second time it ran, JRB just walked out of his game that was running in Aria, and I didn't even know this was possible. He just busted out some Mandarin and started speaking Mandarin to this Asian guy in the game and convinced him to play in his game instead. And I was like, all right, I guess we can't run this shit at Aria anymore if people are going to be poached right out of the game by some Mandarin speaking player. And I mean, I don't know. I was so disappointed. I couldn't believe it had happened.
Wow.
It's pretty out of line, but
Is Jeremy still hosting that game at the Aria, the game in Table 1 or whatever it's called?
they don't play at Aria anymore. He's been somebody else actually got his job, and he runs the game there now.
Oh, okay. Someone else took over. Interesting. Yeah, people are mentioning
JRB still runs or has a game or is part of a game. It just doesn't run at Aria anymore.
Yeah, people in the chat are talking about JRB punting off 400,000 with the 5-3 hearts in the J2 cash game. Yes, if you guys haven't seen that episode on Triton Poker YouTube channel, I'm not sure what the hell JRB's thinking, but then the next hand's even more brutal. It is a hand where, you see this hand at all? You hear about this hand, Sam?
No, I don't really follow any of this stuff.
Oh, it just came out the other day. It was like one of the guy, Liu Kang or Liu Yang, one of the guys opens up ace king, 2 callers, JRB 3 bets, 5-3 hearts in the small blind. The guy 4 bets, and then JRB shoves all in for a very, very, very deep stack pot. And of course, he was very hesitant to show at the end. It was kind of funny at the end because the one guy calls, and then at the end, JRB's like, I just got a small pair. And the guy looks at him. He's like, he won't show his cards. He refuses to turn his hand over. He's just like pointing, like, show me like this. He shows over 1. He goes, no, 1 more. And then he turns over the 5-3 hearts. And then the table's like, hey, what the fuck just happened? And then immediately the next hand, JRB on the show, he 3 bets aces. The same guy calls 9s out of the blind, and the flop's 9 deuce deuce. And JRB gets stacked and leaves the game. It is, man, it's brutal. The look on his face, I mean, you feel his pain. We've all been there as poker players. You feel his pain through the fucking TV. It's quite the episode for sure.
Yeah, I've seen some fun JRB bad beat stories. I've seen him storm out of Ivy's room and like just tell people at the hands, and they're fun. I think there was one, like a legendary one with Bobby Baldwin over there. Baldwin was drunk, and I don't think he drinks much, but they were like sharing wine or something, and Baldwin one-timed him in some massive pot. It might have been something stupid too, like Baldwin had kings and he had aces or something, but he got sucked out on by some enormous thing, and he went crazy. It was fun for everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, like, people have been having. I mean, you don't like to see it. I don't like to have fun at other people's expenses when I'm watching poker. But JRB's had some pretty epic moments over the years in the World Series of Poker as well too. Where there was the one time where he thought he locked up the hand, and he always complains about how bad he runs. And he's like, "Dealer, I love you." And then he's like, "JRB, you're not dead yet." And then the next card he's eliminated on. So it's like. He's definitely has a pretty bad run of luck on things. And someone says, is learning Chinese GTO? It is 100% GTO to learn Chinese, correct? Yes. If you could learn Mandarin, yes. Sam, do you think if you learned Mandarin, you'd get in some more poker games?
I don't think it would help me here, but maybe in Macau or something, or wherever they play these days.
Do you ever play over there? Do you ever go overseas to play?
No, never played. I played like one tournament in Barcelona. I was just there randomly and ran into I think it was Byron Caverman. I ran into him on a beach, and I was like, "What are you doing here, man? Like, what's going on?" He's like, "Oh, EPT Barcelona is almost over," and I think I borrowed I think it was 5K euro. I didn't have I didn't have poker money, you know. I had like travel money, and I just borrowed like 5 or 10K euro from Vogel, saying he had to like pull out euros because, like I said, it was a long time ago. I couldn't use any like Stars money. I didn't know what was happening. I just borrowed some money, played some event, and didn't cash. But as far, yeah, I haven't really played it all overseas.
You're really keeping up on what's going on with the EPT schedule. It sounds like, huh?
Yeah, no, I don't really. It was a few years ago. I didn't really care about tournaments at all. A few years ago, I kind of just played the ARIA ones because they were fun and they were pretty big. I mean, I'm trying to stick to cash, but
what kind of poker goals do you have now? Because you've been around for a very long time. You're at the highest stakes playing, and are there still things that motivate you to keep working and keep putting in that effort?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much have to make sure that Bonomo doesn't get too rich. I mean, I can't let any of these guys win too fast. So pretty much just try to stay pretty sharp to make sure that they stay pretty poor. Man, I don't really spend any of the money, you know. I bought, I guess, a nice car. I bought a Tesla. That's pretty much the only big purchase I've ever made. I pretty much don't spend much money throughout the year. Don't really do anything with it. Just throw it in like stocks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a big spender. I just try to make sure these guys can't be ones.
So your main poker goal is to make sure other people don't make too much money from poker.
Yeah, I guess.
How much money you up, kid? You sound like that's something that a man that's been winning would say.
I mean, I don't really want to talk about that, but I've never had a losing year. Played for a long time, 10 years now or something. I don't know. I just want to make sure it stays that way, I guess.
You don't want to reveal the exact amount, huh? Okay, all right, okay, all right.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay. Mike Lowry, would he rather win 100,000 or Bonomo lose 250,000?
Oh, it's not even close. I mean, everybody knows.
I'm not sure which one. Well, was not close. You tell me which. How's it not close?
Yeah, like I said, I don't really care about the money at this point. I pretty much just play for fun.
Bro, you're a businessman. What's going on here? How much you been winning? My God, maybe we need to get that exact number. I might need a push on this question here. So we have a verified chatter in YouTube comments. Hoodie Allen says, "I aspire to be this level of petty." Do you really though? I mean, come on.
It's not really petty. It's more like a competitive thing when you just play for fun. I don't know.
You want to competitively make sure Justin Bonomo does not win any money.
Yeah, I guess he just seems like someone that has never really experienced adversity in his life. He kind of just like seems like he grew up pretty rich and is just like really closed-minded and thinks he's right about everything. I'm not convinced that he's smart. So.
That boy Mazza says, has Sam ever had any issues with money lending in poker?
I don't really know what that means, money lending.
Probably you lending people money in poker and people owing you money.
Yeah, I know I'm owed quite a bit of money, but I don't know. Just a couple of fish that I've lent money in games like in Florida and stuff. Just ones you'd expect to be able to pay back. They've all been kind of a disaster. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm definitely owed quite a bit.
So what do you do in that spot when you if you know these guys are still actively playing in the high stakes games, or if they're still competing at that level? What do you do in that?
There's only one person that I can think of that actually is still in action. That like a couple of people are just like big fish I like lent money to in games in Florida, like not private games, but in the casino, and then they kind of just like fell out of action. It's been a disaster collecting, but. Yeah, there's only one person really that's like owes a bunch that is still in action, and I'm not really sure what his financial situation is or how he. Yeah, I don't even really know.
Does that make you not inclined to lend people money in the future because of these negative interactions you've had?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the thing I'm talking about isn't a loan. It's more of like we just played open face for a big amount of money, and he kind of lost all the cash he had on him at the time, like all the
Okay.
Aria money he had and stuff, and then it's been a nightmare ever since.
Yeah, I mean, that's not uncommon when you let random people play on credit, of course. Like things like that are potential to happen when you play with someone and you're not 100% sure exactly if they can pay, or especially when they're a fish as well too. You know how some of the fish, they maybe they lose money fast and then they don't have the money. It's like that scene in what was the movie called? Molly's Game. You see Molly's Game?
Yeah, I've seen it.
That scene where the guy, I mean, well, unrealistic, I think, like the grinder guy, and then he goes in the game and then he loses like $5 million or something. Like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I don't have the money. It's like, well, you know what I mean? It's I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I kind of like the movie, but I don't know about that scene where the tight rock, Randy the Rock kind of guy style, gets bluffed off by the big fun player and then loses his fucking mind and loses $10 million and starts chain smoking the entire night. So never seen that happen before. Any other questions out there in the chat, guys? You guys have? I see some people mentioning they're coming to Vegas as well. Yes, the wait list right now in cash games are very, 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 very long. You make sure you always call in ahead of time. Always call in, no matter what. And try to show up, but don't show up where they take your fucking name off the list, because you're going to be waiting a long time with some of these games. But the bigger rooms that have the long wait list also have 20 plus tables running for no limit home cash games. So luckily the wait lists do move fast, unless you play PLO. Then you're a little fucked because they don't have a lot of tables of PLO running, unfortunately. So, but yeah, Sam, you mentioned there's a lot of action in town, right? I see a lot of the 5, 10, 20, 25, 50 games. A lot of high stakes PLOs running over at Aria this summer, man. It looks like it was big last year, but it looks like it's even getting bigger this year. And it's still only June 8th. So we haven't even started really getting into the summer yet.
Yeah, I mean, so far games have been great. There's been a few days where it's just like, there's a guy, Naman, he's an Indian guy, Sean Winter, this guy, Eric Berger, just a bunch of regs sitting around waiting for some action, like five-handed and stuff. They're guys that are pretty much willing to play no matter what the game is, which is very respectable. But other than a few games like that of like 4 good regs battling, it's just been like complete madness. I mean, there's plenty of recreational players, tons of pros that I just don't really know because they're fairly new.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I mean, it's been crazy. The lists look really brutal because people get on the list for every game, and there'll be guys in like the 10-25 game, they're on the list for 50, 100 that aren't going to take it unless it's incredible. Like, for example, I was like 25th on the list the other day. I came in to play the Aria 10K, and it was pretty bad, and PLO was pretty good. I just waited around for the PLO. Yeah, I mean, the list, it's kind of deceiving, like deceptive. Like, it's not that hard to get in the games. You throw your number down, go get some food or something, come back when they call you. Not a big deal.
So at Aria, they can call you on the phone?
Yeah, they can throw your number in and text you. I think they give you a text, and you have like 5 minutes to like respond, and then like 20 to take the seat, I think is how it works.
I think Win might do that as well too. Someone said you can't call in at the Win. Are you sure?
No, you can't call into Aria, but you can call and leave, or you can go in there, leave your number, get on the list, and they'll call you back. You might be able to call in for like smaller games, I'm not sure. But
for bigger games, you got to go there, show up, and put your name on the list. Or can you have somebody put your name on the list potentially too if you got a friend? Or I can imagine there's ways to get.
Yeah, they don't want you to do that, but if you don't know the floor and you tell them, hey, my name's Jeff and this is my number, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think we got a lot of guys who maybe they'll come over from Europe, or they just come out to the series and they don't really know how the etiquette works for some of the higher stakes games as well too. And I think that's a good information you just said, which is that just because those high stakes lists do look long, got to remember not everyone's going to play those games, or maybe they're in a better game that's lower stakes. They're not going to take their seat. So maybe the game might move faster. And in the meantime, you can play a little bit lower stake game if you need to, instead of just waiting around or sitting around if you do want to play as well too. Because there's plenty of action at that level right below as well, at the 2, 5, 10 and 5, 10, 20, that you can still play something. You don't need to sit around for hours and potentially wait.
Yeah, I mean, the other day there was 3 25-50s and 2 51s. So 5 games total, about 15 people on each list. Not only are they mostly duplicates, but a lot of players on the 50-100 list are in the 25-50 and then vice versa. So it's like you got 5 games going. There's 15 people on the list, and probably only like 4 of them are actually ahead of you, or actually going to take the other game.
Mm-hmm.
So you're waiting for people to leave. it's really way less bad than it seems.
Man, that's awesome. There's so much high stakes action going on this summer. This is really, I mean, we don't see the same thing for No Limit Hold'em, but obviously there's a lot of No Limit Hold'em smaller stakes games running. But at high stakes, it seems like it's predominantly Portland, Omaha right now.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, I feel like at the start of the year, there's usually some good games like late in May or so, and they die down. People play tournaments or like people lose some of the money they brought to Vegas and stuff. But this year, it seems like it's pretty wild. Even with the private games, it's still great.
Yeah, it's still early. I mean, I feel like the action usually starts heating up as we get towards the bigger buy-in PLOs and then towards obviously the main event when more people come in town just for that. And they come in for about 15 days or 10 days and they want to play a lot of the high stakes cash. So you see more of those higher stakes games run. But I guess this year, maybe with the big 50 or something, maybe it's more people in town in general. The hype's more and people want to play more. Like, I guess there could be a number of different reasons why the action is so fast and furious this summer.
Maybe crypto heater. Market's been doing good. I think a lot of people are just more rich than they were a few years ago in general.
Yeah. That definitely might make sense too. Someone said, is somebody replying in the chat? No, that's me replying in the chat, not anybody else. P-Money asked Sam the secret to balancing MTTs with cash games. It's hard not to get sucked into one or the other. Agree.
It's pretty tough. I mean, I don't think I've done a great job of it. Like, I haven't really worked on my PLO game. I mean, I mostly just play PLO cash, but I haven't really worked on my PLO game in a really long time. Well, treadmill issues. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I haven't worked on PLO in a while. I mean, it's tough to do.
Did you ever think that maybe you should just focus on one format for the summertime? And obviously, I understand the action is very alluring because there's a lot of action running, and the rest of the year there really ain't that much action going on. So you want to take advantage of it while it's here. But do you ever think like maybe I should just focus on the cash game and maybe forget tournaments? Because obviously, much different mental space, different sleep schedules, different everything when you're going to play a 3-day tournament versus play cash games till 5 a.m. with the fun players.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, my goal is to kind of study for tournaments and stick to playing those. Just because, I mean, also I have the little promotional thing with Aria where I don't have to pay rake for all these tournaments. It's like a 10K every day. It saves me so much. I mean, it's like 500 rake on the 10Ks and 1,000 on the 25s. It adds up fast. So that's kind of a reason I did. I mean, I probably would have just stuck to cash if it wasn't for that. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much only gonna play cash if it's really good because of this other thing.
Well, you also had a lot of success in these Aria tournaments as well too. Were you the player of the year last year in that series?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is I won the little. That's why I have the rake free thing. It's like they give out whoever gets the most points or whatever gets rake free.
So you don't have to pay any rake on Aria tournaments for the entire year?
Right. So I mean, I don't know how much that's worth. I assume between like 40 and 90,000 or something.
That's pretty sweet. That's a pretty sweet deal right there.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not worth 90. That means that I got buried. That means I'm in for infinite bullets. But yeah, I'm looking at the schedule right now. It looks like there's a 10K on the 16th at Aria right before. I guess the World Series one is on the 19th. But on the 16th, 17th, and 18th, before the World Series 25K, there'll be an Aria 10K. Like warm-up events, you know?
Oh, for the 10K PLO?
Yeah, and they're in that little they're in like a studio in the Poker Go studio. It's really nice playing in there. Like it's the only complaint really is that it's cold and the tables are too big. But
the tables are quite big, correct? Yeah, it's unusual. I mean, I think also at that if you're at that feature table, when I played on the Poker After Dark, it was when I was in the 6 seat or was there 6 or 7, whatever seat I was in, that was right to the right of the dealer was the fucking most annoying seat I've ever been in my life because you couldn't really sit straight, and when you're playing PLO cash, you couldn't get your cards in there. So that wasn't very enjoyable in there. But overall, I think it's a very beautiful room. It's very nice in there. It's very prestigious and stuff like that. So it seems like a very good place to play. People are saying he hit the wall on the treadmill. No, he didn't. The treadmill broke. What happened to the treadmill, Sam?
It overheated, man. It only goes like 2 hours or some shit. I don't know what the deal is.
We overheated the treadmill. You know what? Maybe that's a sign we should wrap it up. What do you think? We have anything else? We want to get any more stuff or?
I don't know, man. I'm just kind of messing around. If you got any more questions or anything interesting to talk about it, I'm down. But
I mean, I could go for 6 hours about this. I mean, a lot of the community doesn't really know much about you. So there's always the backstory and how you came to be. I mean, you got this picture out here, Sam. You see this? I think a young mutual friend of ours, Marcus, sent me over this photo. He said they used to call you long-haired Sam, and
Marcus, is this? Which Marcus is this?
Marcus from San Diego.
Okay, Marcus G.
Marcus G, correct? Yes. You seen it, Sam? You seen this? Who is this? Who's this guy?
Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting story there is how many chips I have in front of me, man. I'm crushing. This is a good tournament.
This picture right here.
That picture, yeah.
Are there poker chips in this photo? I don't see them.
You don't think poker chips?
I can't. I don't see any chips. I literally only see you with this. You look like
Wait,
you look like Chris Jesus Ferguson before he became known as the pariah for Black Friday.
Move your mouse down.
Oh, there's chips. Sorry, I didn't see. I didn't even know there were chips there. Wait a second. Okay, wait a second. What's going on? Sam, what's going on here? What is this? What happened?
Yo, I got even more chips in the second picture. The second picture is even better. I'm crushing. Oh, I don't know. I think I'm like 20 years old in this, or 19 or something. But yeah, I cut it when I was pretty young.
You should have kept that hairstyle, man. The hairstyle looks pretty good.
It
must have taken you like 10 years. You must have been growing that out since you were like 12 years old.
No, I had it shaved in college. I like lost some bet or some shit, and then this kid shaved it. Like my roommate got to shave it in college, and then I was like, fuck this. I'm never letting this happen again. I just let it grow out for a while, and I just never really cared about anything besides poker around then. Just played a bunch of games and like didn't really think about my hair much. And then I woke up one day and it was that long. That's about it.
Did you? So you started playing poker when you were what, 18, 19?
No, I started playing. Maybe I was 16. I started playing online. I was playing like $6 sit and goes and stuff.
Nice.
Small. There was a guy. His name was Shut the Club Down. He had another name when he played.
Full tilt name, correct?
Yeah, that was his full tilt name. I don't think he minds. His name on Stars was Brock Lesnar. He doesn't really.
Oh, yeah, legendary trash talker in the online poker streets.
Brock Lesnar was a trash talker?
I'm pretty sure there were some moments where he was trash talking. I could be getting this confused as well too, because I kind of mix some of those guys up and I mix them up together. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he was a trash talker, wasn't he? I think I know his real name too. I can't. It's not coming to me right now. But so what's the story with him?
He went to my high school, and I don't know. I remember I would like play the sit and goes and stuff. I remember sending him a little bit of money, like for cash at school, and he's like, "Man, this is like so cool. This dude's like making money online." I mean, he was playing a little bit, but like not much. He was like more focused on school, and so he got really into it. And then he started making like tons of money. I remember we were in college. We both went to the University of Florida, and I just remember one day he had like 50,000 or 100,000 in his account or something, and I'm sitting there doing like some econ work, and I'm like, "What the fuck am I doing right now?" Like. Why would I ever? I pretty much knew I was never gonna have a real job, so I don't know why I was studying to fit that profile, right? I don't know why I was doing any like real work when I was just gonna end up playing some kind of game or something. So, yeah, I mean, he kind of like coached me a little bit. He staked me for 50 cents a dollar heads up, I remember, and
awesome.
The games were really soft back then. It was like 2009, like the start of 2009. I started playing a lot online and. It went really well, and I don't know.
You were 16 when he started staking you?
No. I was playing on my own when I was 16, and I did pretty well. I mean, when I say I did pretty well, I mean I made like a few $1,000, like nothing serious, you know.
Rich for a 16-year-old, that's for sure. Yeah. In high school.
Yeah, like it was going well. I was playing really small, like the $5-6 sit and goes. I think at the time they were like $6 turbos on full tilt. I think my screen name was Zergum. Which I was obviously underage, but yeah. Anyway,
they'll close your account down. Full tilt, take care of it. They're on it. Security's on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of like the online stuff anymore. I pretty much stick to live now, but yeah, I mean, pretty much just played online. Mostly just played heads up. My name on full tilt was the number 4 Great Justice. Played like 20 out of 50 heads up and a little bit of 40-80 ring because it was really good, but I was terrible at 6 max. I mean, I was playing. I won at it because I like game selected really hard, but that was fucking awful. I was a disaster. Like as a heads up player at 6 max, man, like people are open like +1, and I'm just in there with like the 5-8 suited, just 3-betting the cutoff. Like, you know, fuck this guy. Like he's not good. I'm just I don't know. You obviously can't have like a 20% 3-bet at 6 max.
No, it's probably not going to be a recipe for success. A lot of variance with that strategy.
Yeah, it was fun though.
Did you play a lot on PokerStars too?
Not really. Like I said, I pretty much only played heads up. I kind of bum hunted only on stars because I just hated the software. So it's like everybody played on both. If you're gonna go sit someone and just like go to war with them, I would rather do it on the software I preferred. Like I had some really crazy battles with this guy Kemsey Tree. I don't know if you remember him.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy, I'm a lagtard. I remember we were just always talking about like some heads up challenges. I think they actually ended up doing it one day with Kemsey Tree and lagtard. I was like next in line to do it lagtard. I didn't want to do it with Kemsey Tree. He was really good, but I don't know, man. I miss those days. Those were a lot of fun.
Did you start playing more live after Black Friday happened, or did you go outside of the country to relocate at all?
When Black Friday happened, I was kind of lucky. I lived in Florida, and I had already started to play quite a bit live. Just like in college, I would play. It was like $5, $10, $100 buy-in. It was really stupid, but I kind of like started transitioning into live before Black Friday, and it's like so lucky that I did because I didn't have much money, but I had probably more money offline than I did online, which, like I said, really lucky because I just heatered live. Like I think like the biggest game was like 5-10, and I made like 30 or 40,000 the first month or something, and I probably had like 5K total in money offline. So the fact that I just like God moded immediately and ran it up is just like insanely lucky, I would say. But yeah, I mean, I pretty much ran it up live right before Black Friday, and it was easy to just go do that. I just played a ton of 5-10 and like 10-25 and stuff.
You remember I went down to Florida after Black Friday happened because all my money was on stars because I literally had all my money online. What a fucking idiot! But I had no money offline, and then I ended up getting a stake, and I went to Florida to play live poker there, and I was like, all right, this is awful. Like I got to get the fuck out of here. So I went to World Series, and I was the most miserable I've ever been. And then I went to Vancouver quickly after that because I just could not do. If I would have had a heater, I probably would have kept playing more live poker, which kind of an interesting thing. But that definitely was not going to happen at that point in time.
Yeah, I mean the Florida games were really good at the time. I mean,
people want to see your calves. I think they say your calves must be shredded. He's been walking for 2 hours straight.
Tiny little calves, man. The calves are all genetics. I've got terrible calves.
George Cush says I think George Cush sounds like he's getting turned on by your calves in there, man. Calm down, George. Put it away. His calves are fine. Okay, calm down. Bad beat, Joey. Can we play some PLO cash this summer? Yes, we can play some PLO cash. Even though you tried to ruin my play money prop bet years ago on PokerStars, Bad beat 831. I will happily play cash with you. That's fine. You can let me know when you're out here, brother. That's it. So Sam's plan, a lot of tournaments, a lot of poker. You don't post anywhere, right, Sam? You're not a very public guy. You're not looking to build a persona out there. You're not looking to really kind of be that type of personality in the poker world, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not really into the social media thing. I mean, I don't know. I don't really focus on that stuff. I'm not into it.
I got to tell you, Sam, if I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't be focused on it either. So I think it's a smart decision. It's super distracting. It's only getting worse.
Okay. I feel like it's working out for a lot of people. I mean, I assume you enjoy doing it and stuff.
I enjoy talking to my friends. Let's put it like that. Okay. If I've constructed things, maybe I wouldn't do it again. I'll put it like that. But it is what it is. Things are going well, but do it again, I wouldn't do it the same way. So that is what it is. Surf said he's walking at 0.5 speed. Let's fucking get this going up to 9 speed for a bit.
Yeah, this thing only goes 4, man. It's max speed is 4. I think it's on 2.
Guys, that's it, man. Listen, Sam, I appreciate you coming on, buddy. I know you're fucking playing a lot. And, I know this whole situation isn't the most fun situation to talk about. And, I kind of wanted to help you get yourself out there a little bit and at least defend yourself from what people are saying out there, and also ask some questions about the situation. And listen, you answered all the questions. You have absolutely no issues. There's no hesitancy. There's no beating around the bush. There's no like some people have done in the past. So I think that's all you can ask for as somebody out there who is happen to be concerned about this, which you probably shouldn't be because, let's get over it. But at the same time, people do have their concerns about it. So,
I do think it's worth noting. And I love this kid, man, Yaroslav. I think he's hilarious. Like, I love his demeanor at the table. I feel like he shows some emotion. He's just very open as a person. I mean, this kid's great. And someone translated for me. And I don't know how accurate it is. I don't know if they're fucking with me. But apparently, you can hear he goes into like a rant in Russian. And
he goes to the rail in Russian. Yeah, he starts yelling.
Yeah, so he's just telling like Igor and them like, oh, hey, so this happened. And he explains the whole situation. But then at the end, he just like exclaims really loud and like yells like, he put on me his dick. That's what they told me was like the English translation, which
he put on you his dick.
I died hearing that, man. I felt bad, but I thought it was too funny. I lost it. I don't know.
I'm telling you, I thought he was getting the Russian hitman lined up again. I was like, my God, he's gonna call the hitman in or something like that. So I don't know, man. It ain't good. I
just think that's some wild shit to say at a time like that. I mean, obviously he's pretty mad, but
he put the dick on you. Yeah. Jordan Vargas, if Sam and Joey had a baby, it would look like Tony Dunst. Okay, that's it. That's the last comment. Okay. I guess it kind of would. That's actually not too inaccurate. You're right. It maybe would look like Tony Dunst if me and Sam had a kid, which, it's not possible according to science right now, so we don't got to worry about that. So that's it, guys. Much love. Peace out. Thanks for tuning in. Comment below. Smash the like button if you enjoyed it. Be back on Monday, new video. Tuesday, podcast. Wednesday, podcast, Dan Zach, and probably have on Doug Polk maybe Thursday or Friday. That's it. Peace out.